Hi, I'm Bryce Button, Product Marketing Manager with AJ Video Systems, and we're here at IBC 2016. It's wonderful to be back here in Amsterdam, and at this year's show we basically have announced a range of products that fill out workflows. So it's a time of refinement, workflows that we've introduced previously, building on them, adding to them. So starting at the top for standard SDI workflows, we have the Kuma router, which is a 64 by 64 3G SDI router. You can actually gang your inputs and outputs. So if you're doing 4K, you could take 4 3G SDIs and send that group out to another 4 3G SDIs. For HD-based T workflows, when we introduced the Rover Cam earlier this year, which is an Ultra HD camera, Sony block, this is a receiver for it over HD-based T. HD-based T basically means you're sending power, video, audio across a single cable that goes into the receiver. With this receiver, you can actually kick out 4 3G SDIs or 6G SDI, it supports both, alongside HDMI, and you can even use it as an HDDA. The Kona IP, which affects editors. If you're in post-production and you're looking at moving into an IP workflow, the Kona IP works with Adobe, even with Final Cut Pro 10. The only difference is your connectivity is now through an Ethernet cable plugged into an IP workflow. At this show, we introduced a new standard for it, which is 22-7. And what that gives us is the ability to offer you basically redundancy protection. Using the 2 SFP ports, it will roll over from one to the other if there happens to be a break in the network. We also have the ROY SDI, which allows you to do scan conversion of actual 3G SDI inputs, extending our workflows for whether you're an editor or whether you're in a broadcast. If you're working with an IP workflow that involves JPEG 2000 streams, the IPR1G SDI and the IPR1G HDMI receive those JPEG 2000 streams and allow you to play out through SDI or HDMI. We also have our UTAPs that started shipping this week. We announced them at NAB. These are great little devices, especially for video conferencing, all sorts of practical tools. Just plug it into USB 3 port and you can capture. For KeyPro Ultra, we've introduced Avid DNX HD. So just like our KeyPro Rack, if you're an editor that needs to play back from, capture from, or record out to 4K or Ultra HD or 2K or HD, this is your best recorder player out there. You can use all the ProRes formats that you're used to. Now we've added Avid DNX HD. And finally, one of the most important things as it pertains to you as an editor might be HDR workflows. So at this show we've introduced software. So this is your 12.5 software. It's AJ Control Room, which you can get free off the website. And it means that the Kona 4 you might be editing with, the IO 4K you might be editing with, or even Kona IP will now be able to support HDR output along the HDMI cable. So that's the summary of what we have at the show. And let's just go take a quick look at an HDR workflow on the stand. So if you're in post-production, one of the big advances right now is going on with high dynamic range, or HDR. You generally got a choice of displays you can go to. One is very expensive, which of course is Dolby Vision, which supports 12 bits and up to 10,000 nits. What's going to be much more common is if you're dealing with a commercially and consumer available HDR display, it's going to be based upon the HDR10 standard. This is 10-bit. HDR, as you know, expands your dynamic range. Standard dynamic range is somewhere around 8 stops. HDR is generally a minimum of 15. So what we're seeing here is the 12.5 software, which will be coming soon, which enables a product like the Kona 4 to be able to kick out and recognize the signal to an HDR display, which is what you're seeing on the left. And the way this is done is you go into AJA's control panel and you'll simply be able to set the HDR10 info frame data. And this is the information that travels along the HDMI pipe along with your video and audio and effectively says to the set, you know what, this is an HDR image, please display it correctly. And this is going to make your work life a heck of a lot simpler as you pick up more and more projects that involve high dynamic range.